This is a Glassbox Media Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to My Worst Date. I'm Cassie.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Christina.
Okay, so the thing that has been taking over my timeline that I've been obsessed with, I think I saw it like as soon as it happened. It was like one of those things where I was online at that time. Is Keke Palmer's shitty ass boyfriend.
I refuse to learn his name.
I don't even know his name.
It's Darius.
No,
It's just
it doesn't
like,
matter.
For
It's
what? Like,
Who is you?
Exactly.
Who is you? The way
embarrassing
I love
for him.
No, totally. The way I love how embarrassing it is for him because it actually just triggered a memory that I had when I used to date this guy, and he used to always like kind of like say things about how I looked or the way I wore something or whatever. And I swear to God, it would be like instant karma. We'd go to the bar that night and every guy would be like, oh my God,
well, that's
your girlfriend is so
that's
hot.
why he said it to you. That's
right.
why, because
That's right.
It's deep insecurity.
That's
but the
what
thing
this
is, it's like,
yeah.
don't act like you don't know who you're fucking with.
yeah,
Like,
Honey.
do you know who Keke Palmer is?
I do.
The Keke Palmer? Like, what is wrong with you? Just thank God every fucking day of your life. Get on your knees and say thank you that woman gave you the time of fucking day, let alone had your baby.
Honey.
Yeah, that's insecurity. And I almost thought one of the first things that I thought was, I wonder if he's doing this to get people to learn his name.
Maybe, but it's the worst fucking way to do it.
way.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, if you have healthy boundaries with social media, Keke Palmer's baby daddy basically got on Twitter or some social media platform because Keke Palmer had gone to, I don't know why, Keke Palmer. Like,
you have to say her full name.
Her full name every time. But
what are you going to call her, Mrs. Palmer?
Ms. Palmer.
If you're nasty.
She had gone to an Usher concert and she was wearing kind of like a black leotard type thing with like a sheer
Hot.
thing
looked
over the
amazing.
top. Which is also,
Hot.
first of all, she looked stunning. She
Yeah.
looked
So
gorgeous.
trendy.
And it's so on trend.
Yeah.
But those outfits are everywhere. It's not like, she's doing something brand new,
Right.
But so she had posted a picture. Somebody posted a video because she got on stage with Usher.
And she looked
And
hot.
she looked amazing. And he responded or like put on social media like something like, that outfit though, you're a mother. Which was so fucking gross. And so the internet rightfully got up in arms about that because also Keke Palmer is beloved.
Yeah.
You do not come for
No.
her.
Right.
So like they got pissed and then he doubled down.
Honey, just be like, no, what I meant was, and can you believe that she's a mother? That's where you should have gone.
You didn't read the room at all
no.
because he doubled down and he's like, basically he said like our society's fucked up when the
Okay.
man of the house can't like voice that his wife and mother of his child shouldn't be out with her booty cheeks out to please others.
Okay.
That's what he said. Something
Listen.
along those lines. And first of all, there's a million things wrong with that statement.
There's so many.
Like where to even fucking begin, honestly.
Where to
like
begin?
You can kiss my ass with that fucking man of the house shit.
Man of the house pleasing other people, like she's dressing like that to please other people.
I'm 100% sure she was putting it on to be feeling herself.
Yes.
You know what I
Exactly
mean?
right.
Which she's been very vocal about and has been vocal about since. So like she's been very vocal about the fact that motherhood changed her body, that she was, a very straight up and down kind of before, and she loves that since she had a baby she has all these curves, and she's been very vocal about like loving her new body.
Good for
and
her.
wanting to embrace her new body. So for him to try and cut her down
It's
is
so
fucking
gross.
gross. And so she'd also said recently on a podcast that she would never like air their relationship dirty laundry out in public. So, and he knows that. So for him to go after her publicly, since then, she hasn't out and out like said directly, but after that shit happened, she posted a bunch of pictures of her in the
Good
outfit
for her.
on her social
Good.
media. He deleted his social media accounts. I can only imagine the hellfire that was rained down upon this man when she got home.
And so deserved. And then Keegan, you posted a TikTok about it, and you're so right, because I've seen a lot of people commenting on it, be like, well, you know, if he wants to talk that way, he needs to put a ring on it. And
Right.
it's like,
You're missing the point.
You don't talk
Not
like
the
that
point.
at all. Like,
No.
ring or no ring. What the fuck?
No.
I wish my husband would try to tell me what I could or could not wear
No.
out of my own fucking house
I
that
know.
I fucking
I
pay
swear
for. This motherfucker right
to
here.
God. And you know what? This has happened to me before. When I was with my ex, it was so years and years and years ago, I was getting ready to go out dancing, and he didn't like to go dancing. So, I mean, probably part of why the relationship didn't work out. But I went to go say bye to him. His cousin was visiting, and I was wearing like it was like 2011, so it was like a bandage dress. Because those were very popular at the
You're
time.
like Hervé Léger.
But it wasn't even super short. It was like mid thigh, but like tight. And then I had on fishnets and boots because I wanted to dance. So I had like Docs on. And I went to go tell him goodbye, and his cousin was like, "You're gonna let her leave the house like that?"
Ew.
And I was like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me right now." No, I'm not the one.
No.
With that shit ever.
You take the dress off.
Yeah.
You're like, bra and panties. Bye.
I'll leave the house like this if that's how I feel.
Yeah.
You know, and if you feel some type of way because you're insecure, that's a conversation for inside the house between your relationship. And also acknowledge that it's because you have an issue.
Yeah.
She doesn't have an issue.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe that's a talk between you and your therapist, because I'm not your therapist, and it seems like you're the only one in the room right now with the fucking problem. So I don't know.
Yeah, I got it the other way around, is because like I actually, because of the job that I used to have at the theater company, I had to dress so provocatively that once I got out of it, I did not care
last
to
thing, yeah.
like, I don't clothes or something I don't care about. You do you, like anybody can do. Like, I also don't really care that much about makeup, but I'm not going to be like begrudging or shame
course,
anybody.
yeah.
Like, everybody has something that makes them happy, whatever. But I'm like, clothes and makeup are something I don't care that much about, and I prefer to be like in the background now.
Because it was so forced on you, I
was
think,
so-
too.
yeah.
It was like such a part of like them, that forced identity that you're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Don't tell me what to do.
So my problem was like opposite. Was my partner used to comment on
not being enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Listen, shut the fuck up about
Exactly.
other people's bodies, about how they choose to express themselves. You're not
Yes.
with the person for that.
I should
You
hope
shouldn't
not.
be.
No.
You shouldn't be. Yeah.
Chris honestly sometimes doesn't care so much that I'm like, Chris, what do you think of this? Does this work? He's like, yeah, you look good. I don't.
You're like, you're allowed to give an opinion.
Yeah. He's like,
I'm asking for an opinion.
Yeah.
You know?
I really want your feedback. I would try that something different.
Yeah. I
He
mean,
knows better.
but like you were
Yeah.
saying, and like I said in that TikTok, it's frustrating to me that in these modern times, we're still being like,
I know.
if you're married to someone, then that means you have a degree of ownership over their body and you get to control them in some way. It's so fucking weird to me. The
Yes.
number of comments that were like, well, if you want to have a say, then you have to get married to her. I'm like, no, you still don't get a fucking say.
No.
You
Right.
don't get to decide.
No.
Man, I would love to see Tony try to tell
Please.
Keegan.
Oh my God.
Actually, can I be here if that ever? I'm like, please.
Fly on the wall.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
Oh God. Well, speaking of men behaving badly, I had this short story that I found on Reddit that I was like, oh, this would be a good. This will make you happy, guys.
Okay.
So I met this guy on Tinder and figured a good first date would be to go to an amusement park. He picked, listen, 20-something me,
Oh,
I'm
I
in.
love it.
Oh, yeah.
100% in
Riding
on
the
this.
Honestly,
roller coasters.
Exactly.
As long as I like you, I'm in now. Like I would be in now as long as I know that I like you. Because the only problem is being stuck at an amusement park for however many hours
That's
with
true.
someone you don't like.
That's-
and you're
potentially
standing in lines.
in heat. That's the only thing. If I know I like you, fine, great, good times.
Suddenly, I'm not feeling so well. Yeah. He picked me up and everything was going great until we got to the park. This guy was a complete jerk. He wouldn't pay for anything and only wanted to talk about sex. Well, dude, we're at a fucking amusement
Yeah,
park.
there are children everywhere.
Everywhere. Like the last thing I want to fucking talk about is copulating with you.
Right.
Fucker.
Oh my God, because kids at an amusement park, the best birth control of
Ever.
all time.
Yeah. No, that's the furthest thing from my mind.
Absolutely. Anyway, we picked the roller coaster with the shortest line, and it happened to be one where your feet are dangling. Fast forward to the ride being over, and we're waiting on the ride for the ride operator to let us off. I'm wearing sandals that day, and as a joke, he kicked them off. They landed a few feet away, just out of reach. And when I asked the employees if I or they could grab it, they said no because it was a safety hazard, and then I'd have to come back to the park at the end of the day to get it.
So you're buying me new shoes, first of all.
Barefoot at an amusement
No, the
park.
most disgusting.
As if it couldn't get any worse. Of course, me being barefoot decided it was time to go home.
Yeah.
I walked all the way to the front entrance barefoot, and by the time I got to the car, my feet were black and
my
sore as
God.
hell.
Oh my
I'm sorry. At
God.
that point, it's time to buy some way overpriced Mickey Mouse flip flops. Like
Yep.
you got to do it.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to be anywhere with this guy anymore. I want to be out of this place.
Oh, I'd be so fucking furious. Also, yeah, you can like July here at an amusement park, you burn your fucking
Burn
feet
your
off.
feet
Exactly
off.
right.
Yeah, there's no way. If it was summertime, yeah.
She said, and no, he didn't offer to
what a piece
buy me
of
sandals, and I didn't go back for the sandal. I'm like, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, that pisses me off.
wow. Yeah, the least you can do, like, listen, sometimes like a joke or a prank lands bad, but he should have been falling over himself, apologetic. Oh my God, I'll buy you shoes. I thought it was going to be funny. It was dumb. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Then it's like,
forgivable.
okay. Yeah, it was dumb.
People do dumb shit when they're nervous,
Yes.
like on dates and stuff. Like,
Yes.
and you realize, so I could forgive if you realize that.
Yeah.
But like, what the fuck? You're going to let her walk barefoot out of this amusement park back to her car? What's wrong with you?
Honestly,
Yeah.
get lost, dude.
So I think it's so funny because on one side you have this talk of like, there's no respect for the man of the house, like blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, in the same token, chivalry's dead, motherfucker. This chick just walked like raw dogged her feet across Disneyland.
Well, it's
Yeah.
so interesting too because it is always those traditional types, like Keke Palmer's baby daddy. You're gonna act all like traditional now. Whenever you have a baby,
her name is on the deed of that house.
and
Honey.
you have two babies
Out of wedlock?
with
Okay.
two different women. You're gonna act like you're a
Yes.
traditional man.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you even
Yeah.
talking about right
Yeah.
now?
Rich.
It's just
Only when it suits him.
only when it suits you. Yeah, like only the rules that you want to apply. Nothing else apply. It's so fucking like, God, it's irritating.
It's
Like-
the worst.
I'm en fuego.
I was triggered by something you said that made me think that we might have a good option for an FMK.
Okay.
You said prankster.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm thinking like Ashton Kutcher.
Oh my
There's
God.
that
like
new
the
prank
punks.
show. There's that new prank show that's out with
I
the dude
fucking
from I hate
pranks.
I do
hate
too.
them
I
with
do too.
such an intense
Like-
fire. And I love Ashton Kutcher, and even Punked like would piss me
No,
off.
I can't watch that shit. And I will agree with you. Don't fucking because I've said this on this podcast before. My
that's like
retaliation knows no bounds.
Like the Jackass guys
Yes.
do pranks and stuff like
So-
that, like Johnny Knoxville.
He has a new show out, like something prank show. It's him, Andre, whatever. The guy who
From Workaholics?
Eric Andre.
Eric
Oh, Eric
Andre.
Andre. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, what about classic pranksters?
Okay.
You know,
All right.
for our FMK.
Okay.
Like not the show or whatever, but like guys who are known for being pranksters,
Merry pranksters.
like Loki.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the character. I mean, I'm just saying, like just in general.
I will tell you. I mean, I can go with Ashton Kutcher here because I will tell you I am so disengaged from prank culture.
Yeah.
Because I hate it. so much. It makes me so deeply like uncomfortable. That I never watched Jackass. I never thought it was funny.
You're a total Pisces. You're just your empathy just goes.
I feel so bad. Like I could never do a prank.
Yeah, I hate watching shit
because like I would give myself up immediately. I would feel so bad. Like there's just no way. So yeah, the only show I ever watched like that was I did see some episodes of Punk'd, and I always just felt like it went on too long. Like I was like, okay, you got the joke across, like you can come tell them now.
There were some where I'm like, you didn't know this was like a setup because it's so like nuts, you know? Or you're like, okay.
I'm actually gonna
go for it.
Do Johnny Knoxville.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Okay, so
She's
now
still
I need to...
I'm still Johnny Knoxville. Only because I never watch. Well, I've seen enough episodes or enough pieces of that show to know like kind of the scope behind it, right? Like I don't really like that show. Jackass isn't my thing, but I like Johnny Knoxville for some reason.
I like Johnny Knoxville too.
I think that, and you know what? He has that. There was a show that he did not that long ago, and about the family that they were like a fake family on TV, and he was like the dad. And it was anyway. He was fucking brilliant on it, and I would just his character work like outside of like anything Jackass related to me.
Yeah,
he's very funny.
Save that one movie that he made, The Ringer. Do you remember that?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh Lord, we
Oh,
just
shit,
have to.
You're right.
We just have to wipe that from
Yeah.
our memories. It was like 2006. It was a weird time.
That was an awful time.
It truly, that movie was
Awful.
awful.
God.
But Johnny Knoxville has seemed to mature in a really nice way.
Yeah.
Like I've seen interviews with him more recently. He's sober.
He's freaking hot.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And Steve-O's sober too, and is hot as a sober person.
Yeah.
As a
yeah,
sober
I would
person.
agree with that.
I haven't
was,
seen him as a sober person, so
Well, all of them were gross when they
Yeah.
were on Jackass. To
Yeah,
me, all
totally.
of them were.
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Well, I am going to pick Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, I love
Yes.
it. Perfect. I love
perfect. I
Yes,
love this.
That Borat's kind of that is a prank. It took me
Yeah.
a minute to think of it, and I'm thankful for my phone next to me because I'm like, all right, those are the two off the top of my head.
Shit, I
Obviously,
know.
like Punk'd, Jackass, but then of course like the Borat
Yeah.
movies and
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
yeah.
So
Sacha Baron
Crank
Cohen
Yankers,
is
any of
a
that shit.
fucking genius.
I love him.
So
he
hot.
is he's so talented too. He can
Smart.
sing. He's into musical theater.
Yeah.
political.
He's political. He's
satire
tall.
game on. Oh yes, he's so Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah. Oh man, this is actually
And
going to be
actually,
tough.
I think Ashton Kutcher's tall too. He's over 6 foot.
and he's also very political.
Yeah.
This is going to be fucking tough, you guys.
He just made like a really lovely like social media post about Mila Kunis. Or an interview or something where he's just like, she's the best person in the whole world.
Well, I know exactly what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. Marrying Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, I see
He's
this for you.
intelligent. He is satirical.
Yeah.
His version of Punks, while very silly, are still like politically motivated. And
They're very
I really,
meta.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. And so I could get behind it. And yeah, I think it wouldn't be annoying day in and day out. Whereas sometimes like
No.
a Punk'd or a Jackass day in and day out, I'd be like, can you fucking take something seriously for once?
Yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen actually seems really like balanced and centered and not at all wacky in real life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he seems like super, super serious. And I
Yeah.
love that. I love the conversations, the late night talks that we'll have over like, he knows wine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
100%.
100%.
He is very like wine.
He knows a lot
intelligent.
about a lot, I think.
Yeah.
I don't get the impression that Ashton's that kind of guy IRL. I think he is maybe with his friends and especially in that younger age, but I can't imagine him being that way with Mila Kunis.
I don't think he's that way now.
Right?
No, I don't think he's that way now. And I don't think Johnny Knoxville is as much either. I think he
Right.
really genuinely was like that
Yes.
when he was younger. And probably of the three of them, probably has the most prankster qualities.
Yeah, deep inside of him.
Deep inside of him.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of them are actively like zing,
Yeah.
zing, zing all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
hope not. God.
Yeah, please no.
No. And then I'm gonna fuck Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, that
He's-
looks dirty and bad.
It looks so
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah,
For you.
in a good way.
Yeah.
In the
Best way. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That man is a freak, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I
bet.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it. He is a Pisces.
Wow.
Johnny Knoxville? Oh,
Wait,
Jesus.
so what is Sacha Baron Cohen? I would
Libra.
Guess, oh.
Oh,
Wow. That's
wow! I like that. I love that for him.
I
Yeah.
love that. Good for you.
And
great.
Ashton Kutcher is an Aquarius.
yeah, that's better.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got two.
I already knew what I was going to do, and that matches up exactly right.
two air signs and a water sign. Okay. You can't, okay. Knowing that, moving forward, I am going to. Here's the thing. I want to marry Sacha Baron Cohen.
I know.
I really do.
Yeah,
but
a little Libra and a.
I can't.
Oof, yeah. I'm even going to struggle. After I learned that, I was like, ooh.
no, I love it. I love an air sign.
It does have that. He has that real Libra justice thing that I think that as an Aries, but that's the thing with Aries and Libras. We either love each other or hate each
I
other.
love
and
Libras.
It's never a risk I'm willing to take.
I've always had good relationships with Libras. I actually can't think of one that I knew was a Libra that we didn't get along. So that's not an issue for me. It's more that like Isla Fisher did an interview where she, because they've been together forever.
Right.
And that she really supports everything that he does and, is always in his corner, but it's very stressful because he'll go away and make these movies that are very dangerous. Like we think that they're funny, but like in truth, like he's putting himself in pretty dangerous scenarios.
Right.
And I do think that would be hard to be married
Yeah.
to. I think it would be stressful.
I do think anybody at this table who could do it would be Christina, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'd have to become like the exec producer or something like that
to have some
in that way so that I would have to have some control.
so you could feel like you had control, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I think I could do it. I'm gonna marry Ashton Kutcher.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna marry Ashton Kutcher.
I like
there's
this.
something just real chill about his
Yeah.
adult energy. Like when he
Yeah.
was younger, maybe it was a little bit more kind of hectic, but
Juvenile
like
and
he
everything.
seems to have really settled into a nice.
I like him and Mila Kunis together.
Me
I do
too.
too.
And he's also
And I love how much he loves her.
yeah.
And how much he respects her and her abilities. Like he's just blown away, I think. Like you see like half the time he's like blown away like with how smart she is. How,
Yeah. And they came under fire, which again, the internet is such a weird place because they said that they weren't going to be leaving large fortunes to their children. That like, their kids are going to be fine, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're going to be fine. They're like, we'll invest in whatever. Like, if they want to start businesses, we'll help them get on their feet. All of that stuff. So they're gonna be fine.
they'll
Their
be fine.
parents are multimillionaires, but that they were going to. They have a plan to leave the vast majority of their fortune to charities.
Good for
Wonderful.
them, man.
Which I think
good
is
for them.
so great. They are very free with their money. They give to lots of
love that.
organizations. They're very public about it. Yeah. So I just think that that's a nice
I love it.
life.
Yeah. Yeah.
them.
I like that for you.
That's a nice life. I am actually going to fuck Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, okay.
You know,
He is BDE.
yeah, he does. And he has a quality. Libras in general, I feel like are very, they want to sit and like talk and talk and talk.
Oh, yeah. That's
which I love. And
Yeah.
so I
Our
feel
marriage
like-
is going to be full
Nice.
of, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like I want to have a nice long date
Yes.
with Sacha Baron Cohen leading up to the end of the night.
He gives foreplay vibes.
Yeah.
You know, there's some
yeah.
guys that think that blowjobs are foreplay.
No.
And
You know,
it's like, he does not give that vibe.
I have
I mean,
an
for some
energy-
people it could be because I do think that there are some people who are turned on by the act
By giving.
of giving.
Yeah,
of
that's
blow-
true.
So I mean, but I do think that pushing my head down in your lap is not it, bruv.
No.
gonna
Although
marry me.
again, maybe for some people,
ain't for me.
there's something for everyone out there. Sacha Baron Cohen gives me vibes that he's good with his fingers.
Ooh,
Doesn't he?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like there's something
Like
about.
hands.
I think he's got like a long finger, like big hands.
Yeah, let's not call him fingies though. Let's not. He's got hands.
Yes.
He's got a
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
hands.
good with his hands. And then Johnny Knoxville, like I said, like I think he's matured nicely. He seems really cool in interviews. I like him.
He's gonna make a great friend.
Yeah.
The way I have literally changed our entire thing to FMF.
Really, honestly.
I know. Sorry, guys.
It's been a rough time.
Listen, life is too lifey right now, and it's an FMF.
Yeah.
I am going to also marry Ashton Kutcher. I love
that for you.
He's got the best energy, man. Like, I feel like his prankiness kind of stemmed from a lighthearted, youthful energy to me that is not nefarious.
There's something a little nefarious about some of the jackass pranks or whatever.
I think so
but it
too,
usually
about the Sacha
revolves-
Baron Cohen ones.
Self-destructive.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the Sacha Baron Cohen ones too can almost angle a little. I mean, I agree with him politics 100%. So I mean, for the most part, from what I know,
There's
to be
almost
fair.
an Andy Kaufman
Yes.
energy though, where it's just like 'cause
A
he
lot.
has to get so deep into character to be able to maintain that for months on end or whatever he's
Right.
doing when he's filming, that I imagine him coming
Being
home
married to Borat for a
Right.
year
Man.
would
and
fucking
him
suck.
and him having to come out of it probably takes time. It would be a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
It'd be a lot.
Yeah.
At any rate, I feel like Ashton Kutcher's, I love his energy. I love he's pro-woman. I'm very, very aligned with him on his political views. I'm going to fuck. Yeah.
It's hard.
I know. I'm like,
I think there's good stuff in both
I know,
camps.
right?
Yeah.
They both have things to offer.
You're right. The Sacha Baron Cohen hands.
Yeah.
But also Johnny Knoxville's smoking hot.
He's got like a real dirty boy.
Yeah,
energy.
because here's the
Yes,
thing. 'Cause I,
he does.
I feel like we're going to get messages about saying that he's smoking hot. Here's the thing. I think he's one of those people who's like hotter than they should be.
Yes,
Right? Because
totally.
like looking at him,
He's
if someone just showed me a
aged.
picture of him and I knew nothing, I'd be like,
I gotta be honest, it's like fucking gray hair for me. It
Yeah.
has really spiced him up.
It has spiced him up. He's got like
His dangerous
old
quality.
van energy.
Yeah.
And it's something like
I'm sorry.
old van. Yes.
Listen,
Like when you drive
the way-
around it?
I was thinking old Vans, like the tennis shoe, which I
But
was like,
also
I could
that.
get on board
Also
with,
that.
but I don't think I can get on board
No,
with a van.
because the truth of the matter is
I'm like, explain. please.
okay.
Okay.
We have all talked about this on our podcast before, but like everybody's best sexual experience
Yes.
of
Yeah.
their life
Yeah.
is with somebody that's like
Yeah. He has
old
that energy.
van.
Yes,
You know what I
yes,
mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
that it's just like they don't have their shit together.
He does seem like a line cook.
Yes, he's got real line cook vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like, but he's
Yeah.
like head line cook. He's like the one the other line cooks turn to.
He's the one that all the other line cooks buy their drugs from.
Yes, he has, and it is that. It's like you have drug dealer energy.
Yes, exactly. And it's
but it's hot.
You
I don't want to examine.
I don't want
fuck
to
it.
marry it.
I want to
Yeah.
fuck it.
Yeah, but exactly.
But
We're all
you're
like,
right. I'm gonna fuck Johnny
I saw an
Knoxville.
Overheard LA today that made me laugh, where it was like a girl was like, so we talked for 2 hours in his car and now he wants to take me out for dinner. And the friend was like, you cannot date your drug dealer. She went to go pick up her ecstasy and just sat in his car for like 2 hours.
We had a connection.
No,
honey.
man.
Maybe,
Hey,
babes.
you it's catch and release. You know,
Yeah.
honestly, you do that for a night. You have that
Let it go.
memory in your spank bank, but you let it go. You don't
Listen,
try to.
I still live with a couple good reels.
Yes.
A couple
yeah.
good reel to
Yeah.
reels up in here.
They're the worst people you've ever met in your life.
Yeah.
Oh, the worst.
Imagining, actually trying to maintain a relation, like
No.
a healthy
No.
relationship, or
This is
yeah,
best where
no.
we're at. I'm
Yeah.
much
Wait, so
happier.
are you going with Johnny Knoxville?
Oh yeah,
then?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's
I feel ya.
It's the right wrong answer.
Yeah.
I feel like honestly, I might be intimidated by Sacha Baron Cohen.
He's
like,
got
do we have
intensity.
to like talk first or some shit? Like,
I feel like that's a good choice.
yes.
Meanwhile, me and Christina are like, we want to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we
I
just
bet
get
he's really good at dirty talk. Role play.
Yes. Oh my
Oh
god.
God, what if he does it in those voices?
Oh no! Don't ruin it. No one wants to fuck
Like,
Borat.
you're hot,
No.
my wow.
Or Bruno.
Oh my god.
No, thank you. Do you think he'd wear that like lime green banana hammock?
Oh, God.
Oh man. Well, on that note, we have a new patron.
We do. We have a new patron. So we want to give a big Patreon shout out to Missy McCormick.
Yay!
Thank you for joining us. Welcome, welcome. We will get your patron rewards out in the mail.
And it will not be a lime green banana hammock. We promise.
Unless
Not
you
yet.
want it.
Right. myworstdaybodcast.com and let us know if that's the new rewards we should go after. We'll create a level. You guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Sounds good.
And we're back. Okay, Cassie. I didn't know. Sometimes I get confused about which break I'm supposed to say it and which one you say it. But anyway, it was my turn, Cassie.
I'm just staring at you because I'm like, I dare not. All right. So met a guy, early 40s, through a popular dating site. We chatted online for a bit before meeting face to face. I'd like to add that I'm an expat. I've lived in several countries and do not have the accent of my home country or even the area I grew up in. Sometimes in an app, you can put down your hometown. Sometimes I fill this in. Sometimes I leave it blank. In this instant, I decided to say where I was from. We agreed to do an activity for the date, which I bought the tickets for, and he said he'd pay me back on that night. You can already see where this is going.
Yep.
So we do the activity, finish it, and go for drinks. The place is kind of busy, so I say, I'll go get the drinks if you stay here at the table. And he agrees. I get the drinks, come back, and there's no mention of him paying for his ticket or the drinks I've just bought. I leave it as it is. I think the night is young. Let's just see where this goes.
Yeah.
Before we really even begin to drink, he looks at me and says, "You sound nothing like my ex."
Oh, okay.
In all
All right.
seriousness.
I don't have the energy for this.
She's like, I already left. Bye.
I'm out.
I won't lie. I was absolutely confused by this out of nowhere comment. I asked him to expand further on this comment. It turns out his ex-partner and the mother of his 2 children are from an area very close to my home area,
God.
which has a very distinct accent, which I absolutely do not have. He is disappointed by this as he likes this accent and specifically wanted to date me because I have it listed as my hometown.
Dude, I'm telling you. So I know we've talked about it on the podcast before, the like robot sex dolls.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like as soon as you combine that with generative AI and men can just literally like weird science their preferences in it, that's literally what they're going to do. Because that's what they try to do with real human adult females. And it's fucking gross.
Honestly, good. Bye.
I would say good, except for that I don't think it's going to prevent them from trying to take that into the real world. I don't think it will. I don't think it's going to be a thing where it's just like, and now all the problematic men just have their little sex dolls in their corner and they play with their
That's
dolls
what
in their
I want,
corner.
Keegan. Don't ruin my
That's what
future
I
world.
want too, but
No,
I'm
Keegan,
afraid.
don't ruin my future
But
world.
the idea that you can like kinko copy like something that you like
Literally
from, it's just
copy.
like fucking are you serious right now? Like
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that mentality has kind of come with the apps in general, because it's just
yeah.
like you're reading people's resumes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is like
Totally.
not what we used
And on
to
your
do.
resume, you said you were born in this area.
Right.
Why isn't your accent matching
Yeah,
it?
I think people have this idea that they can just kind of pick and choose
Yeah.
things about people. You know, I don't know.
Absolutely what you said. Just like, I want this accent with this
This kinda
demeanor
hair.
and
Yeah.
This
It's
height, this body
insane.
type,
Yeah.
this bra size.
Sadly, from here, the date just gets more awkward. He tells me that because he's such a proud and committed father,
Oh, God.
2 kids that are over 6 but under 12, that he chooses to only work 2 to 3 days a week to allow him to be the best parent he can be, giving them all his free time. He then proceeds to tell me that with all of his free time, he spends his off days playing golf, using a boat to get the most of
Yeah.
the area and we live in, and in the summer,
I
tanning.
was going to say, your kids are over 6, under 12. They're in school.
Yeah.
So unless you're at home homeschooling them on your days off, then you're not hanging out. You're not spending all your free time not working. Like find a job that coincides with their school hours. Like what are you talking about?
However, because he only works 2 to 3 days a week, he's absolutely broke. And then goes on to mention that he just can't afford like owning a car.
But you can afford golf?
I know. And a
Golf
boat.
is expensive.
Yeah. And boating
And a
culture,
boat?
notoriously expensive.
Well, now we see where
Maybe
your
he lives on
fucking
the boat.
priorities are.
Maybe he lives on the boat. Yeah, there you go.
He can't afford. Okay. And also going on holidays or big purchases. He mentions his financial situation at least 4 times throughout the day.
Oh, God.
Okay, get it, dude. You're not paying me back for the fucking drinks and the ticket. I get it.
God.
At the end of the day, he didn't offer to pay for the drinks I'd buy him all night or the ticket I'd purchased, of course. I also felt like I couldn't push him to pay for it as he'd spent the whole night telling me how broke he was. First of all, don't go on a date then.
Don't go on a date.
You know what?
Or don't
I
go
don't
on
go
a date that costs money. Like we talked about. There's plenty of free stuff that we can do, but ew, for doing all this stuff and then laying down this like weird guilt trip.
Yeah. I mean, and didn't you say that they had discussed this before, that they'd be splitting things? Or did they not?
I don't know that it was stated.
Okay.
It does say, this is the kind of little wrap up real quick. Thanks. It says, after the date, I sent the usual message. Thanks for the date. Hope you made it home safely. Hoping he'd respond with, thanks. Now let me pay for my share. You know what? He did say he'd pay her back for the tickets.
That's what I
at the
thought.
beginning.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. That
You're
there
right.
was, because like she went with the expectation that he
That's
was
right.
going to
Pay her back. And he did not.
Yeah, of course not.
No, he then unmatched me a week later.
Oh,
The golf.
well, bye.
Yeah, bye.
Oh,
Lord.
ew.
It's how weird to be like, your accent doesn't match my ex-wife's.
Ew.
Well, and also like there's so much like vitriol out there for like, oh, women only date for free stuff or whatever. But we've had plenty of stories where that's the other way around too.
A lot, actually.
Like,
yeah, we've had a lot.
yeah.
And also too, I mean, we've said it multiple times. Christina, you said it 100 times when you were dating. Like, always have money.
To pay for your own shit.
To pay for your own shit just in case.
Yep.
And or offer, you know, whatever. It's silly.
Ugh. Okay. Men.
Behaving badly. More men behaving badly. We had a theme.
Yeah. Okay. Dinner seemed to go all right, except that he drank most of a shared pitcher of margaritas by himself.
Oh,
then
Ruh-roh.
drank
Give
all.
me one margarita. I'm gonna open my legs.
Exactly.
Give me 2 margaritas. I'm gonna say something dumb.
That's more accurate.
Then drank all the liquor I had at home.
Ooh.
I was kind of irked, so we go searching for more.
Oh.
The first place was closing up. It's Sunday. So he goes up and bangs on the windows, loudly demanding that they sell us some beer
No.
and calling them assholes
No.
while I die of embarrassment.
Guess what's
I'm
not
like,
going to happen?
I'm Homer Simpsoning myself out of that
Yeah.
situation.
Oh,
like
no,
into the
no.
bushes.
I could not. My secondhand embarrassment. I
No.
could. And it's not even secondhand. It's adjacent.
Yeah, and I'm
Embarrassment,
like,
'cause you're
it's-
with him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the cops coming anytime now.
Yep.
Yeah, no.
No. Also, just like, I have so much empathy for people who work
Yes.
in like any kind of retail, any kind of like, you work at a liquor store. People who work at liquor stores, God, they have to see some shit.
I gotta
You
be
know they do.
honest. That's not the one, too. I'm not trying to test that.
No.
No.
If anybody's got a shotgun behind the
Oh,
counter,
it's
it's
a
people
hon-
who
yeah.
work at liquor stores.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At the next place, after they served us, he casually said, "Oh yeah, I don't have any money, so you're going to have to get that."
Another broke dude.
Yep, and a parenthetical. Not that I expected him to pay for my beer,
you go.
but he expected me to pay for his.
For his. Sir.
In conversation, he mentioned that his favorite book was Ulysses and compared himself to Jack Kerouac.
Wait.
The fucking
Wow.
audacity.
I made a TikTok a while back about red flag bookshelves.
Yeah.
And On the Road, I didn't say it in that TikTok, but if On the Road is up there, it's one of those where I'm just like, my interests are peaked. I'm
Yeah.
listening. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Just like my ears
What do
are
you like
perked
about
up.
it?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Yeah. I'm not going to automatically put you in the asshole category, but
But I have a pink flag here.
right. I'm paying attention.
Pink flag on the play.
So for you to say that, you're comparing yourself to Jack Kerouac. Okay.
So a drunk broke dude. Is like,
Which-
you know who I'm like? Ulysses.
Our Jack Kerouac.
Or Jack Kerouac.
Yeah.
I am on the road. Oh, great.
Cool.
I asked him what kind of movies he liked, only for him to snottily retort that he watches films.
Oh.
Okay.
I watch
Okay.
films.
Okay, Arclight.
Okay.
Wow. Slow down. There are like 3 people that listen to our podcast that will get that joke.
Yeah.
But Arclight always gives me like film vibes because they never do the pre-show entertainment.
Everyone
and they
claps
always
at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true.
That was something I'd
It's
never
a real,
experienced.
It's a real theater experience.
and I'm like, chill out. It's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right?
Okay.
Seriously.
I'm like, yeah, okay.
It's not an art house film. Calm down.
This is a film.
I had never experienced that until I moved to LA.
Oh, it's
people applauding at the end of movies.
Oh,
I was
geez.
just like, I mean, unless you're at a screening, which I'm
Yeah.
like, that makes sense. But
Yeah.
like, you're just gonna go to fucking like, what the Regal Cinema and clap at the end? What are you doing?
I experienced that at end of one of the Lord of the Rings movies. I think people were just really so excited about it.
That is such a cool movie.
And
I love that. I
to
think
me,
it's a feat.
It's different if it's like one of those, like the last
epic.
Harry Potter, and you went at midnight, and it's this collective experience.
yeah.
Like those kinds of things, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's the end of an era. You know what I mean? But I'm like, yeah, just like going to watch The Hangover and fucking clapping at the end. Like, stop.
I'm sorry. He watches film.
Films.
I'd like to know what his definition of films are. He had this is the funniest because they're on a first date. He had me read a short story he wrote that, frankly, was pretty terrible. But when I offered polite criticism, he got angry and said, I just didn't understand.
Of course.
No.
Yeah.
That was the problem with being a natural writer, he said. No one understands. I'm just such a good writer that you don't get it.
How awkward is that? Oh my God.
You know.
Cassie, you would unzip your skin and walk away.
Crawl out of that.
Someone-
I would crawl like that thing in like a scary movie, like all backwards and shit. Like,
Yeah, you're crab walking out. Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
Is there anything worse than someone watching you read something
Yes.
they wrote?
Dude,
Like
Singing.
silently?
Watching you sing a
dates
song.
are not talent shows.
No.
They're not. They're not. You save that shit for like America's Got Talent or The Voice or whatever. Just like be a person on a date. You can say you like writing, but making somebody like do that shit on a first date is so fucking cringe.
It's so
cringe.
uncomfortable. I would feel so uncomfortable reading something someone wrote with them like staring me down the whole time. Just in silence. Just, no. At one point during the evening, he wanted to check on his dog. He said it wasn't far, but it turned out to be a long drive to the middle of nowhere. Nothing was open, and I had to pee really badly. It was the most resentful roadside pee imaginable. I was pissed.
no.
I had to pull over at night and pee on the side of the road. After he snapped at me about not understanding his writing, I said I was tired and he should go. He asked me for $3 hairs for gas.
No.
$3 for gas.
Wow.
I wanted him gone so much that I actually gave it to him. Then I deleted his number.
Wow.
I'd give you I'm gonna give you a 20 just to get the fuck out of here.
Jesus.
Oh my God.
God.
No, that's too much.
He's an artist.
He's an artist. Yeah.
Nobody
Okay.
understands.
People just don't
Which is
understand.
kind of like what you want people to do with your work.
Understand.
Is understand
Yeah.
that. I think that is the goal for most people.
For writing.
But he's a natural writer, Cassie.
Oh.
People just don't get it.
My bad. It's like one run-on sentence is the short story.
All right. So I talked to this guy for a while. I was still very new to online dating and hadn't learned a few of the basic rules yet, like meeting for just coffee on the first date. Anyways, he seemed pretty normal when we spoke, and he told me he was also an accountant like me. He invited me out for dinner and a movie, and I thought, sure, why not? So he picks me up from my place. Second no. That's a mistake I'll never make again. And I swear before we even leave my street, it comes over me. He's a bit weird, and I'm not really keen at all.
Uh-oh.
Whatever, I'm here now, so may as well get dinner and sit through a movie. Okay,
Yeah.
dinner and a movie. In the 20-minute drive there, he tells me about his job, which sounds absolutely nothing like accounting at all. Like he doesn't even know what an accountant is.
Yeah, you know, The second you said accountant, all I could think of was that TikTok trend where they're like, when they say, what do you do? Say, I'm an accountant.
Yeah.
It's like nowadays, I'm like, I don't even trust you. If you tell me you're an accountant, I'm like, what do you do? No, really.
Explain it to me. Like I'm 5. Let's see. He tells me about his dating history and his last quote unquote girlfriend who he had dated for 3 whole weeks.
Oh,
That's not a girlfriend.
Yeah.
brief encounter.
Yeah.
He still spoke to her and even brought her kid along to their romantic weekend away. So for dinner, he takes me through the drive-through of McDonald's. Not even the walk-in,
you know
the
what?
drive-through.
It's faster.
I would rather, I don't want to sit through a fucking sit-down.
Keep it
dinner
rolling.
with you.
I'll take a number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine.
He then informs me that the movie that we're going to see...
Is it a film?
Is it a film?
What film?
What film is it?
is actually a movie marathon. No, and it's the last 3 Fast and the Furious movies.
No, I'm out, fam. We're done.
No.
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 Those movies are long as fuck too. They're so
fucking long. You're there forever.
So many car noises. I don't.
Oh, and it's also at the drive-ins.
Oh my
Fuck.
God.
So I can't even sneak out.
At this point, I'm wondering how the hell I'm going to get out of this. So we drive from the McDonald's to the drive-ins.
Hold on. You can't spring a movie marathon on somebody.
3 movies.
You cannot. Because for me, if
3
we're
Fast
talking
and Furious movies.
That's like 6 hours.
That's almost 7 hours.
I can't do it. Like, do you know how many times I have wanted to watch Wakanda Forever here at home? But every time I go to watch it, it's like
long.
over 3 hours. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I simply can't commit. And I'm in my house. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot, like,
It's too much.
you have to warn me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm going to be away from the house for 7 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suddenly I have a dog I have to take care
Right.
of. I can't be away that long.
Oh my gosh. So we drive from McDonald's to the drive-ins, which is only about 10 minutes away. Before we even get there, he's told me about how often he and his ex, the 3-week ex, used to have sex.
Okay.
And asked me in my relationships how often I had it.
Why don't you go back to your 3-week ex? It sounds like
you're really hung up on that person.
Obviously, I told him I didn't want to talk about that stuff on a first date. I'm thinking, get me the fuck out of here.
I'm really into this film.
The movie starts.
Vin Diesel's talking.
And I'm practically leaning out of the window to stay as far away from him as I can. He puts his hand on my leg
Oh, God.
and I push it off and he says, "What? I'm not going to finger you, babe."
That is the
Babe. Is there anything worse than someone you don't want calling you babe?
No.
Like,
No.
oh, gross.
No, and it's not even that I thought you were going to do that. I'm like, don't touch me.
It's literally.
Don't touch me.
Don't
touch
touch.
me.
No touchy.
I'm seriously considering just making a run for it, but I had no way home and I had just moved to the city, so I didn't know anyone to call to come and get me. After awkwardly sitting through 2 of the 3 movies,
God, I'd pretend to get sick. Pretend to throw up. You gotta like.
I would just like start farting or something. I tell him it's late and I need to go home because I have to work in the morning. I didn't. And he says, no worries. He'll take me home. So on the most awful drive back to my house, he tells me he's had a great time and asks me if I want to be his girlfriend.
No.
Thinking I better just say yeah so he doesn't ditch me in the middle of nowhere, I say, yeah, maybe let's see how it goes.
Yeah, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about
That's
it later.
exactly what you want to hear when you ask somebody if they want to be your partner.
Also,
Sure, yeah,
asking
whatever.
somebody to be your girlfriend on a first date is so fucking cringe.
Cringe.
It
It's-
happened to me.
No.
It did.
That is 15-year-old behavior.
It's so.
This in this lifetime.
It happened to me.
And an adult?
I feel like I talked about it.
I think it's ringing bells. I think
Yeah.
you did.
It
But
was-
obviously ages ago.
It was the guy that took me on a putt date that
Oh my
was
God.
super Christian and had been a virgin until he was over 40.
I remember that. Yes, I do.
I'm gonna have to dig
I
back.
remember.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good date. It was.
It wasn't that good. It
but I
wasn't
was like-
be your girlfriend good.
No. Don't. I'm not on a first date. Not the first date.
Not the first date.
So he says, cool. Next time, I'm going to take you to meet my mom and dad. And then tells me about how his mom bought his 3-week ex a really expensive diamond bracelet and how she never gave it back when she left him and how much of a bitch she was.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. Stop it. When she left him.
I mean,
that's just
she's
deciding not to
she's
go on any more dates. That's not
bye.
even like she didn't leave him.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Finally, we pull up in my street and I practically run out of the car saying, thanks, talk to you later, bye, and bolt into my house. I immediately block him and remove him from Facebook and Tinder.
Yeah, but he knows where you live.
Thinking, thank God that's over. He messages me not even 15 minutes later asking why I blocked him. I try politely to say he's way too full on and I'm not interested. And he replies with a tirade of, this is the third date this week that's gone wrong. And direct quote, fine, I guess I'll go fuck 17-year-olds.
911 emergency.
Yeah.
No. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, you're the problem.
It's you. It's you.
Whoa.
The kicker, he messaged me on Facebook again a few months later with, hey babe, what's happening? And then I reply with, are you fucking kidding me?
That's the appropriate response.
Yeah.
He's like, what? We haven't even met yet. Why are you being a bitch?
The fuck are you talking about, you dumb piece of shit?
Oh,
To which
no.
I tell him, in fact, I had the distinct displeasure of being stuck in a car with him for 6 hours and to never fucking message me again.
Wow.
My God.
That is a crime.
Block and report. Honestly,
Yeah.
screenshot, fucking
Yeah.
send that out. That's a fucking predator.
Yeah.
Woof.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't like that.
6 hours of Fast and the Furious.
Just no.
And
No.
with a guy that thinks it's okay to write that out to somebody.
What a fucking garbage peel.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep. Be safe out there, folks.
Woof.
Be safe. No Fast and Furious marathons. And
Only serious films.
only serious films only. You guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with the Tainted Love?
Yeah. And we're back. And I have the Tainted Love story that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today. And I did tell the ladies that I was yelling at my computer watching some of this yesterday. So
Nervous. Nervy.
Ruh-roh.
yeah, it was and I'll explain as I go through. So I got a lot of my information from a People Investigates, which I fucking love.
Yeah, People
like,
Investigates is pretty good.
Yeah.
they really do their research. There were
What is that on now?
So-
I feel like I watched a bunch of them a while ago.
they do publish like in their magazine like stories, but then they also do have a show
It's on Max,
ID.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is on Max.
Okay.
So ID is now on Max. Yes. So yes.
Yeah.
Really good information. I also read a Medium article by a Robin Barefield, which I normally hard love Medium for their articles. However, I will tell you that I left some things out that didn't cross over with some of the other information that I read and
Yeah.
also found.
Medium's a really good jumping off point, but you do have to kind of
Yeah.
cross-reference because I think
Yeah.
the thing about Medium is like anybody
I
can
think you're
kind
right.
of write on there. So it's a great place to find stories.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found that this article was heavily written to a certain narrative that I didn't necessarily believe in.
Okay.
Which actually kind of matched the older 48 Hours, which I did
Gotcha.
watch as well. And so there was a 48 Hours that was done initially, a 48 Hours follow-up that was done afterward. And so that's the most of my, and I'm kind of taking you there because I want you to understand where my frustrations come from this story.
Can I just say, I cannot, and I love 48 Hours, you know I do. Forensic Files in 48 Hours, though, for some reason, I cannot stay awake
No.
through. Like, there is something about, like, the tone and cadence of those shows that I'm just like, night.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it makes me so sleepy.
I'm the way with
2020s like that for me.
I'm that way with, like you said, Forensic Files.
100%.
It's like
I'm out, lights out.
It's melatonin.
Yeah.
That's my hotel go-to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You trained me on that, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you.
HLN, man.
Yeah.
Whoever hosts it, the voice of the person who does the Forensic Files, it's,
Yeah. Honestly, Start a Sleep podcast.
Yes.
10 out of 10 would do.
First 48 as my other one.
Oh, yeah.
First 48 is my other one. Okay. Anyway, so it's the 90s. It's like 94, 95. We're heading into mid 90s. I mean, you see the flannel, you see it.
Grunge is everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. We're in Alaska. It's big oil country. And this is, like Anchorage, Alaska at that time is just fucking booming. It's big oil and big money everywhere, but it's also like 90% populated by men.
Yep.
And
as we know.
Yeah. Mechele Hughes. I'm saying Mechele, but her name is Michelle, but it is spelled M-E-Shell. So I don't know why I'm saying it that way, but it is Michelle. Okay. Her and one of her friends decide to take a trip to Alaska. And while they're there, they're like, fucking money pit. And Michelle's like, fuck it, I'm moving from Louisiana. I'm gonna go make some money so that I can pay for my vet school, because vet school has been her dream and she wants to go back to school. And she's like, I can make a fucking killing up here being a dancer.
Dude, secure the bag.
Fucking A.
Fuck yeah.
So she worked for, wait for it, the Great Alaskan Bush Company.
Wow. 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 Wow.
We love a pun.
And so did they. It's apparently like the premier bar there. And she becomes a really fucking popular dancer. She's this really, really cute girl, blondes, everybody is just, even the other dancers that they interviewed were like, she is so fucking good. Like, not only did she have the looks, she had the charisma. People wanted to be around her. She had this magnetic just style of dancing too, that what is your fucking, poison, girl? Because you are killing it. Like this, it's like she was built for this job. She was blowing down the doors and she was very popular. And so she attracted a lot of attention from a lot of guys. One of these guys that she meets is a really shy fisherman by the name of Kent Lepnick. Kent is in Alaska. He was there looking for a fresh start. He's originally from Michigan. His family owned some retail outlets in the Midwest. And while Kent was running one of the stores, he became involved in an embezzlement scheme, racking up about $100,000 in money that basically from his parents, company.
Bro. Bro. Stealing from your parents, your parentals.
Don't love it.
No.
So this is kind of his, and here's my thing. He's pushed out of his family business, but there's no mention of prison. There's no mention of like him getting jail time.
No significant consequences.
No significant consequences, because mommy and daddy are like, you know what? Just don't do it again. Slap on wrist. Go move to Alaska. So his move to Alaska was because he ran into one of his friends had a fishing boat and was like, you know what, you could just make a really good killing up here. There's a lot of money to be made. Fishermen make a lot of money. So he moves and he's like kind of fell in love with it. And he's kind of this shy guy, not a ton of friends, but like, nice enough to get along with. And he goes to the club, the Bush Company.
Yeah.
He sees Mechele and he is smitten immediately.
Well, join the club.
Yeah, honestly, truly, he's smitten. He starts coming to the club every single night. He, just to meet up with her at the end of the night. He's like there all the time, just a constant, very quiet and not, unassuming. He's not bothering anybody or anything like that. I think that's kind of, having danced before in my life, you never really wanted like your significant other to show up at your club. It can lead to fights. It can lead to.
Well, were they dating at this point?
Well, at this point, yeah, they were talking. And so he within a month has asked her to marry him.
Stop it. Stop it.
He's like, no, I'm in love with you. Mechele.
I'm so uncomfortable by all of this.
Just like buckle in.
I was already uncomfortable when you were like, he was coming to the club every single day. I'm like, this is exactly why I can't be a dancer.
Listen.
And be like, no, that kind of attention freaks me out when people come on that strong, that fast.
Mm-hmm. Well, buckle your biscuits because you ain't gonna like this story.
I don't want to.
So this is shocking actually to some of the people around town, because most of the people in town thought that Kent was actually gay. They were like, oh, okay. Well, is this kind of some kind of cover relationship? Because we're pretty certain that he's a gay man. And so they're like, okay, let's really solidify our relationship so we can put some of these questions to rest. And they go and they get a business together. They're like, okay, we're like a couple. We're doing things coupley. And so they go and buy this fishing boat so that he can start his own fishing business. Last person in the world I want to start a business with, by the way.
Somebody who embezzled $100,000 from his parents.
Yeah, girl,
Anyway.
you can kiss that vet money. Goodbye.
Yeah, how long have they been seeing each other now?
It was a month.
When they got a boat together?
Oh, it was right after that. It was
Dude.
very close after. They didn't give us a direct timeline that I saw, but yeah.
We don't like that.
Don't love it.
I'm going to break out in hives.
So the couple decides though too, because she's like, well, what if anything happens to you? Fishing is a very dangerous business. If something happens to you, we should put, a life insurance policy on you. Me as well, just in case anything goes shits up.
Oh yeah.
Let's get some life insurance policies.
I'm looking at life insurance policies right now for
buying a house.
for Eric and I. Because
Absolutely.
the house.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you and Eric have been together for a considerable amount of time
Not a
and are
month.
getting married. Like,
Yeah.
if
Well, they're
I
getting
was-
married too.
If
so.
if I was dating someone for a month and they were like, "Hey, how about we get a life insurance policy on you?" I'd be like, "Excuse me,
What in the Dateline are you talking about?
No, 911. I'm sending you straight to jail right away."
You're-
Exactly.
You're DMing Keith Morrison. You better get your ass
Just
out
so
here.
you know. Yeah, I'm alerting all of you. We need code words for situations like that.
Dennis Murphy.
So again, the couple takes out this big life insurance policy, $1 million on Kent. And then the insurance company, though, by the way, they were like, we can put this on him, but hers has to only be like 150,000 because she's not going to be on the boat actively. So this is not something, her life's not necessarily in danger with this job. His is, right?
Right.
So it is a little off, but at any rate.
Makes sense though.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
whole point is again that if anything should happen, heaven forbid, they're going to be able to pay off this business expense, right? So Kent, he's happy. He's just really excited. He can't wait for his parents to meet his new bride to be, Mechele. And Kent invites his father to town so that he can meet Mechele, so they can start making wedding plans, et cetera, et cetera. She just doesn't show up to the dinner. So Kent's there left, sitting with his dad at dinner like, yeah, she'll be here.
It's not a good first impression.
It's not.
God.
It's not. And they interview his dad on the Dateline and he was like, or on the 40 Hours and he's like, and she just doesn't show up.
There's nothing worse than trying to
Embarrassing.
defend your new partner to your parents or to your like close friends or whatever. Where you're like, no, they're really great. I promise. I'm gonna call them right now. Like,
Oh my God.
the stress.
the
so
way
awkward.
this triggered me to a story of my own that I don't have time to go into, but it was just like, oh, I think we've all been there where you're just like, no, I promise, they're a really great person. And you're like, that should be your red flag right there.
Yep.
Yeah,
But-
it's all downhill from there.
It's not even 3 days later that the electric company is up in Hope, Alaska, or well, I guess down compared to Anchorage, but this is about 90 miles south of Anchorage. They're checking power lines. They stumble across a dead body. They quickly are able to identify the body as Kent Lepnick.
Oh.
He has his wallet on him. He has all of his, jewelry or whatever, anything like that he would have. He also has in his pocket an addendum to the
Life insurance
policy, naming no longer taking basically Michelle's name off of it and putting on like his like family, like his parents or whatever to the policy.
Whoa.
So immediately police are like, who's this Mechele chick? So they go back into Anchorage and they're
Someone that's not going to get $1 million now.
right, exactly. So they go into the city, into Anchorage, and they are immediately like, who is this Mechele person? The body that had been found had multiple bullets. So he had been shot in the head, in the face, in the stomach, as well as in the back. So 3 shots. They've all been from a .44 Magnum Desert Eagle. So this gun, I don't know if you're how familiar you guys are with guns. This is a big fucking gun, right? So a Desert Eagle is like, it's heavy.
Yeah,
It's
lot of kickback.
Lots of kickback. It's a very cumbersome, it's a big fucking gun. It's not a popular gun. Not a lot of people have this kind of gun. So they're like, okay, well, at least this is kind of going to help us maybe narrow down. If we can find out who has this kind of gun, this will help maybe narrow the field.
A registry would be really convenient for that.
Gosh. What?
Interesting.
That's weird.
I'm just
What a weird
saying.
idea.
Anyways,
Did you just come up with that now? Good idea. God, you're
it's an
smart.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we should.
Trademark that.
Yeah, we should get that out there. Again, also on Kent is this thing leads to Mechele. They go into the city. Mechele lives in a place called Wasilla, and she's living in this home with two other guys, a guy named John Carlin III and his son, John Carlin IV. They get to Wasilla. They see that Mechele and these two guys are out in back in one of the outbuildings, and they're like going through stuff that seems to be Kent stuff. Mm-hmm. That's what they say. But nobody, there's no real clarity on that. Again, there's things that aren't fully clarified. There's things that are said, but not fully clarified. In fact, on some of the things, like when they were showing like letters and stuff, I would pause it to read it because I hate when they just pull certain stuff to make you feel a certain way about it. You're like, sure, you're pulling that word, but that's not what that note is implying. So it's just taking a lot of stuff out of context. That's really what this story has kind of ended up being, is trying to put back the context to a story that has been very pushed and swayed.
It's an important thing to remember and to call out. And I know we've done it before, but it bears repeating that like when you're watching these shows that we all enjoy, like we all watch Dateline, we listen to it.
It's cop porn.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, it's entertainment. It's TV.
That's
like
right.
They're going to try and create a compelling narrative, like one way or the other. They have an objective.
Yeah.
Like you
To
should
entertain. You're
never
absolutely right.
lose sight of the fact that there's an objective here.
Yeah. And the great thing is that I got to see both sides because both sides were very heavily like portrayed. And so it was like me trying to piece together what made the most sense. So at any rate, she explains to the officers that when they got there, she's like, yes, I do have a relationship with Kent. He is my fiance. However, we have a really unique relationship. And you can hear her on the thing, like her talking about it. She also has, you'll hate this, Keegan, she has a really baby voice.
Oh God.
It's like
Sexy baby.
It's a very quiet voice. And I don't think it's like a put on necessarily, but it is
Just her voice.
It's just her voice.
I mean, my apologies then for having that response to your natural voice. But I just feel like so many people put that on as like, and it's weird. It's weird that we find that hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
it
it's
is.
sexy baby.
Yeah. The officers are like, hey, well, the reason we're here is we actually found Kent's body. And the police are saying that they're suspicious. She's not asking questions. However, on the 48 hours that I watched, they shared the actual audio of when they tell her. And the first thing she says is, what happened? Like, when? What happened? So she's like asking the exact questions that they're like, oh, she didn't ask any questions. Like, she just knew that I'm like, no, I literally just heard her say it on this. So so it doesn't align on that. That was one of the first things
then
that
it
wasn't
makes you
lining
feel
up.
like they
Are
have
trying.
a point of view right away. Yeah.
Absolutely. So at any rate, she tells them, she's like, he does have, a gun. She's like, when they asked her, they were like, hey, does he have anything to gain? Does anyone have anything to gain by his, death? And she's like, well, we do have, nobody. She's like, nobody I can think of, but we do have a life insurance policy. She's like tattling on herself immediately. Like, oh,
Well,
we do have this money. It's not like they're not going to find out.
Yeah. They're going to find out. It looks better if you're just like,
oh,
yes.
totally. And in her mind, she's like, oh no, I don't know anybody else would want to do this. Right. And so she kind of starts talking to them a little bit more. She's like, telling about the life insurance. She's like literally laying it all on the table for them. And she explains to the police that their relationship is unique because they don't have sex, because Kent actually likes men. She tells the police that his family doesn't know. And it's funny to me. One of the things that I always look for is like when they were sharing the audio, she's like, he's a gay man. She's like, his family doesn't know. She talks about him in the present. She never, ever veers from talking to him about as though he's still alive. So it's one of those things that I know a lot of people look for, like, oh, shoot, they only
Past
talked about
tense.
past tense.
Yeah.
She's talking about this guy like he could show up any minute. And she's like, please don't tell his family. She's protective of this relationship and she's protective of this knowledge because she also knows that he, even in passing, doesn't want his family to know that. I hate that this is a narrative, but
makes sense, that like the quick quote unquote courtship, like they both stood. She gained the protection of having a husband in Alaska, where she's doing this kind of work that gives her a lot of like attention from men or whatever. So now she's got that as a wall of protection, and he's got the protection of like he's married to this hot chick.
Yeah.
So I think that makes a lot more sense now. Their relationship and stuff together. They probably just formed a fast friendship.
And it seems like that makes it your explanation makes total sense of the way that in which. And I think that the show is not going that direction. They're like, oh, she's just a player because she is a dancer, you guys. So she's out there with her feminine wiles. One of the things that doesn't help her is that she does also tell police, she's like, I actually do have a boyfriend. I kind of am in a relationship. This is recent. He is a guy that is, his name's Scott Hilke, and that she had actually just returned from a trip with him to Lake Tahoe in California.
Well, is Scott does he know all the stuff?
Well, Scott knows like apparently that she's in this relationship. The extent, we're not sure. He's a traveling salesman, so he doesn't live there. He's coming in and out. Scott's going through a divorce.
They could have an agreement, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Where it's just like, I know you're getting married to this guy for security and cover, and like it's open, and we can.
I
still
will
see each
tell
other.
you that the 48 Hours does interview him. That's not
the
but
vibe.
he's also trying to very much separate himself from a
this
scenario.
situation.
So he's married at the time, but he's in the process of going through a divorce. He is also quickly smitten with Mechele. He also has already proposed.
What is going on?
Even though he knows that she's already engaged to Kent. So apparently
and he's
he
not
did
divorced yet.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. But that's okay. That's only one part. So she's proposed to from Scott. So now she's engaged to Scott as well as Kent.
Wait, so she accepted?
Yes.
Both what?
Yes. Well, because the Kent one is,
Yeah, but you have to actually follow through with one of. You can't marry them both.
Listen, she is like 18, 19 years old. She's like, sure. Sounds good. And also too, these are like older guys. So they're like showering her with gifts and whatever. Right. But it doesn't stop there. Her housemate, John Carlin III, she's also having a romantic relationship with.
Amazing.
She's playing with fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a real way.
Yeah. So her and Kent are living with John Carlin III and his son, John Carlin IV, and they're living together in this house. And it seems...
Wait, so she's living with this guy and his dad?
Yeah.
And her fiance.
And she's in a relationship with John
Scott.
Carlin III.
Okay. So
Yes.
she's in a relationship with two of the
Kent.
men in this house.
Yes.
And the other one is one of the guy's
Is
dads.
the traveling salesman.
Yes. And then the traveling salesman stays with her when he's in town.
So she's got all three of her lovers under one roof at one point.
You hate it.
You hate it.
You hate it.
I really don't. It's,
You just don't love it for sure.
I'm sweating.
She's young though. Listen, I mean, like we're talking like an 18, 19, like under 21-year-old. This is,
Dude,
I mean,
you're about to find consequences.
Yeah.
Yep.
Consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at any rate, John Carlin. Who the heck is John Carlin III? He's Mr. Big Man, Mr. Big Money Bags. He had a big settlement from his old job in New Jersey. And after getting this big payout, he's like, you know where this money is going to go further? Alaska. So he moves his happy butt to Anchorage. He uses those deep pockets to get the attention of the ladies at the Bush Company. He's into it. John is also quite taken with Mechele. And apparently at the Bush Company, if Mechele was with a patron too long, John would give the eye.
Could men be more predictable? It's just like, do you think you're unique or special? They're like, the hot blonde 19-year-old at the strip club.
Nobody else is into her.
Nobody else is into her.
No, I think that that's the thing. It's a trophy, right?
And also that thought, like, well, I know she's faking with everyone else, but it's real with me.
I just know.
And we have a connection. You're like,
okay.
oh,
All
honey,
right,
okay.
baby, sweet angel.
Cool. And he's, at the, John is professing his love. He knows that the thing with Kent from per her is like, this is just a ruse. He's like, happy to have you guys live here. It's fine. Your secret's safe with me as long as you marry me, because I'm going to propose to you. On Christmas in 1995, he proposes. And this is
she got those rings
stacked up.
I know. Like, was Scott come over? She takes
like
off
Super
one.
Bowl rings.
Yes.
She's putting one on each finger. What is that?
She got Thanos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Infinity Stone.
She's racking them up. Now, this is the other thing, though, too. We're making fun and we're joking about this, but she is a young girl. And the thing of it is that, people are the way that the 48 hours, the way the article was written, people are like, oh, she's a hot bunny dancer just asking to get her, sure, she's fucking around and she's gonna find out. But the thing of it is that
does nobody remember what 19-year-old is like?
Yeah. Yes. 19-year-old hot.
Here's the thing, though, I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate at this table, because yes, we all did dumb shit when we were 19. And I think using the narrative that she's a dancer, that she's hot, that she's stupid, all of that stuff is bullshit and misogyny and gross. And I hate it all. However, saying at 19, I would have known better than to say, I would have felt the danger of saying yes to 3 different proposals. And having all those balls going at the same time under one roof. I would have known better. Like, I can honestly say that. And I'm willing to
I was too much
a lot of dumb shit that I did.
People pleaser. I would have been too afraid of hurting someone's feelings.
Absolutely, me too. Yeah. And so I'm just saying, like, there's a lot. I don't think that we can always say that, like, oh, someone's a teenager, so it's just like carte blanche to fucking do whatever.
I'm not trying to say that, but what I'm trying to say is that it's not because she was a dancer. She's not some, you know what I mean? And the idea that she's, like some kind of like she's like this kind of like viper, like she's the way
mastermind.
The narration behind it is that she's a man eater,
right? And taking all responsibility away from men who actively knew adult things and made these choices.
Real adult old men's.
I agree with you on that.
She's 100%. Not some viper, and she wasn't going in there. I don't think she was like some nefarious monster like they're trying to make her out to be. They're trying to make it like, oh, she had this plan. This has always been her thing, right? Is to be this big bad bitch and go after these people. It's like, what
story I told last week with Theora Hicks, where it's like you want to put all of the responsibility on this young woman, and no responsibility on this older man. Like they came in and fucking hypnotized you and made you do shit, and it's just like, that's not. No, you made choices too in this situation,
and I think that that's kind of the case too, because there's none of these men act the way that the reporters talk about it. So you don't have John talking about how she came in and used her wiles to, do this. Even Scott, who's trying to like put an arm's distance between the whole scenario, is like, never was like, I mean, she was a beautiful woman, of course I was attracted to her, blah, blah, blah.
They're not saying that they felt manipulated or whatever.
But that's the narrative that is being given by like the 48 hours. And also the article is like that she was some kind of temptress.
That's gross.
It's just awful. At any rate, there's a lot going on here, right? So she's got 3 fiancés. One is found dead. John's son,
the fourth
says that during that time his dad was with him. And then of course, Mechele and Scott have the alibi. So all three of them have solid, provable alibis that they were not where they were nowhere near Hope. This is 90 minutes away. This is not close. None of them were near there. And in fact, two of them were completely out of the state. However, there is a surprise because meanwhile, back in Michigan, when the news arrives to the Kent's family, he's been killed. The parents, the mom and dad are like, what? Of course, they just left, right? That dad was just there. As soon as he got home, almost days later, they received a mail, like a letter from Kent. And in the letter was another letter. That letter said, don't open this letter in case something happens to me.
Unless something happens?
God.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Unless something happens to me. And so they were like, holy shit. Yeah. Rip.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they open it up.
Oh, that would be so ominous. Can you imagine?
In the letter, Kent was like, if anything happens to me, it was Mechele, John, and Scott. They were all involved in it. So they're like, hi, we have this letter from the grave, basically.
Also, if any of you ever send me something that says don't open,
It's already been opened.
I opened it immediately.
Yes,
Yeah.
because like the thing
already
I
been
always
opened.
think, because we've covered several stories that have had this element in there that's like, if something happens to me, it was this person. I'm like, if that's how you're feeling, remove yourself from
That's
those
right.
people right away. Because
That's
like
right.
if you're already feeling like I need to send an emergency letter to my parents that something might happen to me because of these people, you gotta
Don't go
get
to
away.
the post office. Go to
Gotta
the
get
fucking
away.
airport.
Yes.
Get the fuck out.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and the thing of it is too, is that I think that, this is literally, like I said, like 3 days after his dad was there.
Yeah.
So he probably mailed that letter.
like as soon as his
Right.
dad left.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then too, at that point, she was already out of town. So it's very confusing as to why he thought there's no context. There's no reasons why.
Yeah, you don't know what conversations go on behind closed doors.
Of course.
And yeah, I mean, the fact that they were all in one house, you
Absolutely.
just have no idea.
For sure. And yeah, so who knows why, but he did not embellish in the letter. He's just like, it's them.
Okay.
So, all right. So of course the police are like, well, I mean, I guess it could be, but there's nothing, they weren't here. There's nobody could have been like, how does this work? There's nothing that could lead them to them being in Hope. He was shot, like I said, like so far away. Like there's just nothing that's leading.
Gotta start looking for those hitmen.
So
I feel like they're always hiring.
A fifth fiance.
Yes, exactly. A secret fifth.
So, Mechele, like I said, does have that life insurance policy, except he changed it. So she doesn't gain anything monetarily from
But
it.
did she know that he changed it?
I don't know that she did, but there was never any indication that she even asked for it.
Okay.
Like she didn't even go after it. It's not like she was like, give me that money. Police were able to obtain a search warrant though, because of the letter. It kind of helped fuel, okay, great. Let's get a look inside the Carlin home. And during the search, they do find a gun case up in a closet. It has a holster. It has mag pouches that are attached that would be consistent with a Desert Eagle sized 44 gun, right? So the detectives knew there was also a computer in the house, but Mechele had said that the computers that hadn't been working, and they had actually sent it to her sister in Colorado who could fix it. Which is easy enough to track. I'm sure they could just reach out, get it. Okay. In Kent's truck, though, they find a letter in the glove compartment. On the top is this typed note, and it appears to be written by John to Mechele. And basically what it's saying is that he had made some repairs to the cabin he has in Hope, Alaska, and that, he hopes that he hopes she has a nice time. I hope you guys enjoy your time away. In the end of it, it says, it's so funny because in the cold case investigator on the 48 Hours is like, John bought her this cabin, and nowhere in the letter, because I definitely paused and read it, nowhere in the letter does it say, I bought you this cabin, have fun.
It's just letting her use it.
Letting her use
Right.
it, right? And the message in the note goes along the lines of basically, with all the love I have, enjoy your time. So presumably she's going to go to this cabin with Scott. So this is all very like, okay, so apparently John doesn't really care that she's having these relationships with Scott too. It's all very confusing.
Right.
And nothing becomes clearer than what I'm telling you right now. So you just got to be like, okay, I guess. Then Mechele has a handwritten scrolled part at the bottom that says, hey, please don't tell anyone where we're going to be, like at this cabin, right? And that's the initial
Using one of your fiance's cabins to go spend a weekend with your other fiance.
I know.
Wow. I mean, and look, if they all know about it and are chill, then I'm like, this sounds like polyamory.
Yeah.
Have at it. You know?
Truly does. And honestly, it kind of, because again, John and, oh my God, I'm sorry. John and Scott, thank you, seem to know about each other and not necessarily.
Yeah, this is
compare too
seeking
much.
sister husband. That's our brother husband or
Yes,
whatever.
Yeah.
it's very weird. I mean, not weird, but it's just, nothing is lining up to a traditional.
Complicated.
It's, yes, very complicated. Anyway, so there's this note now that leads to Hope. They're like, oh shit, well, maybe this was the lure to get Kent to Hope. So the investigators go back to Hope. They're like, hey, they're like going around showing Kent's picture to everyone. They're like, hey, have you seen this guy? And somebody was like, oh yeah, he was here just like last week and was showing a picture of a blonde woman asking if we'd seen her, and nobody had seen her.
Interesting.
So he was down there like looking for her. So it does feel as though this letter was a ploy again to get him to Hope so that he could go around or, kind of get him off the trail so that she could go to Lake Tahoe without being disturbed. It seems that toward the end of this...
That is so complicated.
It's very complicated. And it does seem that toward the end of this, Kent had gotten very jealous of her. They had started
But
kind of
wait, he's gay.
But he could still be jealous of the closeness of the relationship.
But here's the thing, we're not hearing it from him.
That's right.
That he is.
Right.
We've only heard
From
rumors and from her.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe.
So nobody knows, right?
Right.
Well, and regardless, even if he was like, you can get jealous in friendships. You can get jealous in close relationships
That's
if you feel like
true.
somebody's
Well,
like
and
encroaching
especially-
on your,
Well, and especially if you think it's encroaching on the story. If she's got all these lovers, you're
Right, the
ruining,
deal is that you're my cover.
Yeah,
Right?
and you're ruining that, right? So that being said, there's like I said, cold case investigators on this. I mentioned already, and that's because this case goes fucking cold. Nothing happens. No one is put under arrest because nobody knows. There's just nothing. It's all circumstantial evidence. They have a gun case. They don't even have the actual gun. They don't have any hard evidence at all linking these people to his murder. They have a note from his parents who could have, that could have been anything. He could have just said that. Who knows? They don't have,
Right.
They have all the proof that these guys were out of town. They don't have anything that connects them. So they're just like, we don't know what to do. So the case goes cold. John ends up moving back to New Jersey, ends up having, settling down with a woman, having, enjoying his life, whatever. Scott ends up going back to his wife. Shocker of all shocks.
Wow.
Yeah, in California. And Mechele ends up back in Louisiana. Where she's hoping to go back to college.
So now they're
She's made a
scattered
ton-
all over
Yeah,
the place.
She's going back to school. Whatever. She's going back to school. She meets a guy there and they end up getting married in 1998. As soon as he graduates med school, they end up moving over across the country to Wasilla in Washington. This is where, she finishes up her master's degree. They end up having a daughter. They're living their lives. 2004 rolls around and there's a whole new cold case investigation unit. It's between the state troopers and the local Anchorage, Alaska. And they're like, this case needs to be solved. There's enough circumstantial evidence that we need to relook into this. So one of the things that they didn't get to look at prior was the computers, right? So there's these computers. Finally, they have access to them. They're like, there's a lot more digital things that they can do now. So they get into the hard drive. They find a bunch of emails in where Mechele has been emailing all of her lovers at some point. Some of the things were like, one of them was like, hey, it was an email to John that was like, hey, did you know that you could go to the Seychelles for $10 million and they'll grant you citizenship and you can never be extradited from there for anything, not even murder.
It's a weird random email to send to somebody.
Weird random email. It's in the middle.
Good to know.
I mean, it's a weird thing to
file
do,
that away.
But John even says, and one of the things that he'd been earlier interviewed about it, he was like, okay, but what? I'm going to get $1 million maybe from this life insurance. Where the fuck am I getting $10 million to move to the Seychelles? You know, he's like, that was not even have anything to do with this. He's like, it was just a weird random thing that she threw in the email. And it does kind of look like that. When you look at the whole email, it's just like random ramblings. Also, too, why are you emailing somebody that lives in your fucking house?
Yeah, also strange.
Also fucking weird, right? Like, wouldn't you just be like, hey, Chris, did you know that you could buy like $10 million? You could move to the Seychelles. Isn't that crazy? You know,
Yeah.
like,
Don't leave a paper trail.
I know. It's just it's the dumbest thing. So all these emails, which they're like, oh, they're emailing back and forth. There's so many emails. None of them actually have anything incriminating in them. They make such a big deal about like emails were found. And they don't. That was the most incriminating thing they had, was literally what I just told you about the Seychelles.
Okay.
So it's like, okay, it feels real red herring.
Yeah. They still have her in Tahoe. And yeah. It's okay.
Exactly. So they were like, okay, well, what's our other angle? We can talk to John Carlin IV because he was underage at the time. So now he's old enough to be talked to. And so they find him in Seattle. He has a story to tell. And his story is that he knows that his dad had a Desert Eagle. Great. They even found the person who sold it to him. Perfect. What he also said is that he walked in one day to the kitchen and he saw Mechele and his dad in the kitchen with the gun submerged into what smelled like bleach water. And I was like, okay, I mean, I'm not a gun connoisseur.
Can't be good for the gun.
But I'll tell you, you don't wash it in bleach.
Yeah, it can't be good for the gun. Feels like if you're going to do that, you should, I mean, I guess maybe, soak it in bleach and then get rid of it.
I literally was like,
rid of it.
I asked Dylan, because I mean, he knows a little bit of it. I was like, Dylan, would you ever put a gun in bleach? He was looked at me like, I know. I'm like, it would rust your gun.
Yeah, I really
that was
feel
the
like
worst thing to do.
I, again, know nothing about guns, but submerging it seems not good for it.
So this is the third. The fourth saw the third.
Yeah,
That's
the
right.
older guy.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Son saw dad submerging
And Mechele was present.
and washing off this gun.
Okay.
In bleach, like you do.
Yeah.
Giving it a bath.
Just give it a nice little bathy bath. And then, so at any rate, they're like, that's it. We got them. We got them. We got that Seychelles letter. We got them. This is enough. So they arrest John Carlin III. They arrest Mechele. They do not arrest Scott.
Well, they don't have
apparently.
anything on him.
They don't have anything on anybody. This is the wildest story
Right, but
ever.
they don't even
get a good lawyer and just get this dismissed.
Yeah, because but like they can't arrest Scott because it's just like the only things that they do have are with
kind of point to just those two people.
Just those two.
And really the most damning evidence is at this point Carlin's son, who's basically says that he saw them washing a gun in bleach. And so again, and has
and
it doesn't prove anything.
It doesn't prove anything, but it's not a popular gun.
It's not a popular gun. It still doesn't prove anything.
No, but I mean, we've told stories where people have gotten arrested for less. We've told stories where people have gotten convicted on circumstantial evidence.
They did.
Well, there you go.
So Mechele, John first goes in to court. He is convicted. He is he receives a 99-year sentence with no possibility of parole.
Oh my God.
Mechele also, after a 6-week trial, is found by the jury guilty, first-degree murder.
Ooh.
At sentencing, 99 maximum.
How can you prove first degree?
I don't know.
Wow.
How there is no reasonable doubt. I'm shook.
Yeah.
I'm shook.
You couldn't have me on a jury. I would never convict anybody. I'd be like,
Yeah. Well, and you know what's funny is the judge who prosecuted them I'll kind of explain, because he was like, I gave them the max because it felt like, it was, it sounded, the way that they presented it was like it was for the money. It was all this and that, whatever.
Okay. The way that judges can just be like, I felt like it. It is so
especially with
what?
sentencing. I know. I know.
I don't know. I kind of just felt like it.
The only one that I liked that for was for that Scamanda.
Oh,
Oh,
where I was
that's
like,
yeah.
I was
That
like,
felt appropriate.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
2 years later, though, the case was overturned. And in 2011, the judge dismissed the original indictment. So both cases have been overturned.
Okay, good.
After 2 years of house arrest in Alaska, Mechele returns to Olympia and in 2013 is completely exonerated of all charges. The court also appeals and overturns John Carlin's conviction, but it comes too late. He's beaten to death in the day room of the prison where he's being held. So basically they overturn it and then he's not out of prison right away. He ends up getting fucking murdered.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
Can you fucking imagine? How awful. It's disgusting.
It's terrible.
And it pisses me off too because, well, the judge said he was like, they asked, they were like, were you mad that your case was overturned? And he's like, that is the justice system. He's like, you can't get mad about things like that. He goes, I would rather 3 people who were guilty walk away innocent
Than 3 innocent people.
be in
jail
prison
for the rest of their lives.
for something they didn't do.
Yeah.
So I do give him credit for that. And he was like, the sentencing I gave down was based off of the conviction that was handed to me and presented to me. And so I can understand that, but that is the fucking insane wild ride. Now,
Wow.
yeah. And
It's tough because I feel really bad for
There is
his family.
Yeah.
You know, there's a victim here.
There is a
and
victim here.
It feels like there's no justice. And there's a lot. I mean, there's a considerable amount of circumstantial evidence. It's not enough to convict somebody.
No.
It's not enough to put somebody away for the rest of their life. You know, like, so
Yeah, I just don't
sucks.
see the motive. That's
I don't
very,
either.
very, but behind
might
closed
not have
doors, you know,
known-
you never know.
there was that life insurance policy.
Yeah, but-
and she didn't know necessarily that he switched it. And even if she didn't pursue it, maybe she got nervous. Things got too hot.
$1 million life insurance policy. This woman is making $1,000 to $3,000 a night at the
yeah,
Bush
but she
company.
could stop dancing.
Truly,
And like
but
just
I mean,
do whatever she go to vet school, do whatever she wanted with that money. $1 million is not, especially in 1994. Like
Yeah.
$1 million is nothing to sneeze at
No,
for a
for sure.
19-year-old. Like,
Yeah,
so
that's
I mean, I see that there's possible motive. I see that there's a considerable amount of circumstantial evidence. It's not enough.
no,
You can't just
it's
like
too loose for
no,
me.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can't just I'm with you on that.
Woof, man. But you're absolutely right. I get angry a lot of times at the shows where like she was using her
Yeah.
feminine wiles.
And it's
Yeah.
often
I'm like,
that way. Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
oh, calm down.
Yeah.
The 48 hours was particularly gross, and it was because I think it was also older. I think the episode was
Yeah.
right around when it happened, so it's like that
90s.
early 2004.
Oh, early 2000s.
2005.
The worst.
Oh,
Even
God.
worse.
Yes, exactly. It was even worse. Yeah, but
Oof.
it was intense. I know. but-
Wow. Well, what are you guys watching this week?
Well, I have finally hopped on the Black Mirror train. I'm on it, all aboard. Woo woo. Yeah. So I have watched every episode of this last season except for the paparazzi one. I haven't seen that one yet, but
Yeah,
I've seen all the other ones. I did really love Demon 79. That was super fun. That was a really fun time. I also finally watched San Junipero.
Oh,
Finally.
gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
God.
It's lovely.
Did your heart explode?
It was a nice time.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yes, it was visually very cool. I enjoyed it very much. So thank you for the
yay.
recommendation.
Yeah, I think that Black Mirror has stepped away from a lot of the tech stuff this season, which I think
Yeah, they have. They have.
yeah, I know that's a like scare for you, so I felt like this season was a good one for
What
you
did you
to.
think of the spaceship one? Just curious.
That one actually didn't fill me with. You had me
Oh,
feeling
dude,
like I was going to have like the worst anxiety watching that one. I really didn't have
Yeah?
that much anxiety with that one. I actually, and maybe this is the tech thing, I had
The
more
first one.
anxiety
With
with
the first
with
one?
the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got over it, but there was a moment where I was like, oh, I don't like this. But I got over it. There are certain episodes that I won't watch. Like I think the one with Bryce Dallas Howard is the one where like
Yes,
they rate
don't watch
you.
that.
I will not watch that one
Don't
because I
watch that
know
one.
it's that kind of thing
Yeah.
that gives me anxiety more than like. I watch a lot of horror movies, so like looming dread, knowing something bad is going to happen, doesn't necessarily fill me with anxiety.
Yeah.
All this like manipulation, like tech stuff, like that stuff makes me scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I told Cassie on the way here that this week was Wham's Day instead of Wednesday, because Netflix released a documentary about Wham. Which I love music documentaries. I love Wham. So it was really good. I didn't know that much about the band and how fucking young they were.
Yeah, little babies.
When they popped off. They were children.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, he was writing songs at like 13 or 14.
Yeah, they
really
started
young.
their band super young, and they were popular from like Wham was when they were like 18 to 22.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They were like the
firestorm.
biggest. Yeah, it happened. They were only together for like 4 years, and then George Michael launched his solo career, which was really like, I didn't know that much about his bandmate Andrew Ridgeley, who was like,
I want to watch this. It sounds
totally fucking cool with the fact he's like, George just really had something I think he needed
X
to
factor.
prove, and Andrew just stepped out of the way. Like, they had the biggest band ever, and he let him use Careless Whisper, which was a Wham song, to launch his solo
that.
career.
It sounds like he really had his ego in check, which is incredible for an early, like a late teens, early 20s man.
That's interesting.
That's
'cause
incredible.
I'd heard that it was like very conflicted and there was a lot of drama.
Well, apparently not on this documentary.
Good.
But yeah, he's like, I mean, George Michael ended up being like the producer, like all this stuff, and
that's cool.
Yeah,
Good for them. I want to see that.
Yeah, I love. So yeah, Wham's Day.
Wham's Day. I watched the first episode of the Ashley Madison thing.
Oh
documentary.
yeah, you sent that picture. Is it not that good?
Dude, it's just not for me. I'm like, okay. It's just like,
sometimes
I know enough about it. It's not like it was like there's some deeper.
The leak that happened? Is it a documentary about that leak that happened? Oh.
Kind of. Yeah. It's about like Ashley Madison, the history of it. Like, it's just.
Yeah. You're like, meh.
It's okay, cool.
I like that. We often say things that we like and we recommend. I like the warning too. Be like, you know what? It wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, if you have something that we should watch or something we should stay away from,
Exactly.
if you have a terrible date story or you just want to reach out and say hello, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com, and we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.